so much for stopping by. Tonight I'm going to show you how I transformed the design that I created yesterday on the black cardstock onto the hand-painted glass. And this is how it turned out. Again, my new design, when I paint the glass for you tonight, may not be identical to this, but will be very similar to it. And we are going to go ahead and get started. I am once again using the Engine Red, Italian Sage, Evergreen, Wicker White, Cayman Blue is what I base coated the glass with, and all those are actually the folk art enamels, and then I'm using the folk art multi-surface, the cinnamon, and the magenta. Brushes I will be using are two 3/4 inch flat brushes, 10 flat brush, a liner brush, 0 liner brush, and then 2 round brushes. One is a 4 and one is an 8. These I just picked up on Amazon. They're Princeton, the Heritage, and again they're a size 4 and an 8. The other brushes, the flat brushes, are 1-stroke brushes, and then this little liner brush is a Vermeer Utrecht brush, and it's a 0, which very thin. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my red first, and I'm going to move that one out of my way. Alright, so I already went ahead and base coated the glass just so that it's ready to go. Going to double load my 3/4 inch brush with the Engine Red and the Wicker White. And then I'm going to start with painting the design that'll go on the bottom before I add the pink over the top of it. And I'm basically just wiggling the brush, touching, wiggling, just to make it a ruffled petal for the flower. Again, if you're going over your design and you're not happy with it, definitely feel free to paint over it to make it the way you want it. It's okay to do that. Alright, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and start up here again. It helps having the blue underneath it to give it an opaque look. Basically, it helps really have your paint that you're doing on top of the base coat will flow nicer when you do it, when you actually have a base coat under it like this. Alright, so we'll continue on. I'm going to kind of turn the glass to determine where I'm going to do the other. It's a larger part of the flower, but it's not an actual open flower, if that makes sense. It's kind of closed. But again, you're just kind of touching your brush, going up and down, just kind of wiggling it. And this will make for a nice, just a nice little partially opened flower petal. Alright, so we got that. I am going to go ahead and I can do one of two things. I can go ahead and add in the other buds, which I might go ahead and do that right now. One is a smaller opened flower, and I'm going to tap that in over here. And this is using the number 8 round brush. And I'll go back over it a few times with some of the other colors. You can, double load your brushes if you want with the mixture of the colors. You can put 3 colors on there, 2 colors, whatever. I'm just kind of just doing it, just a little touch and pull, touch and pull. It's a very easy stroke. So if you see it here, I'm putting the down like that, touch and pull, touch and pull, touch and pull, touch and pull, touch and pull. Now my paint got a little thin towards the end, so I can go ahead and just put a little bit more on my brush and then go back over it again. If you don't want it to have as much white, then you can just go back over it a little bit. Touch it with the color that you want it to be. I want it to be a little bit more red, so I'm going to do that and add that in. You still see the white. I wanted it to be a little bit. Alright, so there we go. Then I'm going to add the little petals in. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and place the little buds in here. And I'm trying to do just a total of 5 flowers. So I like odd numbers. If you haven't already gotten that from me, I like the odd numbers a lot. So again, this is going to be very similar to this open flower that I just painted, but I'm just doing it more like a bud. Partial bud. It's starting to open, but it hasn't opened quite yet. And I'm just tapping on, basically 3 petals that you're going to see. And it's really just with the round brush, you're just kind of pulling it over. Get a little crazy here. A little bit more red back into it. It's just kind of a layering process, really. Get it to look the way you want it to look. I'm going to put a little bit more pink in this one. And just leave it like that. Alright, now at this point, I'm going to go back in and paint my pink on here using the other 3/4 flat brush. And if you didn't watch my previous video where I showed this on paper, I actually got this design inspiration from a shirt that my granddaughter had on. You know, some of the patterns that the kids' clothing come in are just beautiful anymore. Alright, so I'm making sure that I have the white on the outside as I'm doing this. The white on the outside. The magenta is on the inside. And again, I'm just doing the same kind of leaf. Or not leaf, but flower petal. I'm just going to fold around. Again, it's just a ruffled petal like that. I'm going to go back over to this one, which is the partially open, and then do the same thing. Add my white and magenta part of the flower petals to this one. And again, it's just a matter of touching, wiggling your brush, bringing it up and down, and then you can stop and start, which I kind of like to do a lot, and then go like that. So it hasn't opened yet. It kind of overlapped over my little flower here, 5-petal flower, but that's okay, not a biggie. Alright, so the next step, I'm going to wash out my brush. Okay, we'll do a few of the leaves with the bigger, the 3/4 brush. So I wanted to wash that out. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to this bigger flower, take my smaller number 4 round brush, and then put in the center of the flower, which this is yellow ochre. And I'm just slightly touching, just pulling it out like that. And it's not going to be real prominent. You know, with the colors that I'm using, you can't see it real well, but you can see it. I mean, it's there. You know, if you want them thinner, you can do that. I particularly like it with it being a little thicker as far as the strokes go. And then I'm going to use my little liner brush to add the little tendrils or stamen, whatever they're called here. And it's just really, with this brush, it's so little that it doesn't take much just to lightly put it on. And I'm not really doing a specific set of them, just filling up the yellow. Basically, that's how I'm doing it. And then I'm going to go back over with my little brush, little liner brush, and then just put the little tips in. I'm using the red, not going over into a different color. I just decided on these just to use the red for it. If you wanted to do a little bit more of a contrasting color, you could do that. Like I said, I just liked it with the red, so it's fine. But sometimes I'll do like maybe a contrasting color to what the stems are, and then maybe even put like a dot of another color, like a yellow or something, to bring it out. Alright, so we have that on. I cleaned out my 3/4 flat brush, so now I'm going to start adding leaves. Now what I've done is I've used the Italian sage, then I've used part Italian sage and part evergreen to make then the darker color of the two. After doing that, I'm going to double load my paint and start with some bigger leaves coming out from this part of the flower, the top part of the flower. Now this is just a basic leaf. You know, there's so many different kinds, as I mentioned, but I'm just basically wiggling, coming back after, you know, just not even lifting my brush, just coming right back. After I go up one side, I'm going to do it again, go up one side, and make more of a curvy kind of on this one. So I'm going to go like this. I want to cover that blue. Okay, so I'm going to do this, wiggle it, and then come back, and it has a little bit of a curve to it. Now I could go in and put in the veining in the leaf, but I'm not going to do that. Decided not to. I just want to look at something here. Most of the leaves are a little bit smaller. And to see what I did on the other one here. So this flower, I'm going to, I don't know if you remember the painting, but I had the stems coming off of the paper in different places. for the purpose of doing this video, I'm going to have them going in the same, basically the same direction. So they're kind of intermixing, meeting, crossing right here, if you could see that. Then I'm going to just add some simple leaves in here now. My paint is still a little wet. I could dry it with my my dryer, but I'm just going to go like this and just kind of basically tap it in a little bit. Go like that. Again, just simple leaves where I'm going up and back, up and back, up and back. And then I think I'm going to come down. You can see a little bit of pink, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to stick with this brush for right now. Just put them back down like that. So I think those are pretty. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my smaller flat brush. And then that way I can add in some smaller leaves. I didn't do this on the painting that I did on the cardstock. I just stuck with the bigger brush. But I felt like it would be a lot easier to do this with the smaller brush since these are actually smaller flowers. Same kind of leaves for this. These for this part right now. And I could make it like it's coming off of there, or you know, like it's coming from this one. I could put veining in it if I wanted to. Doesn't really matter. I just want to refer back to my other painting, so I'm trying to keep it fairly similar. And any time that you're working wet on wet, and like I said, if you'd prefer not to, that's fine. If you prefer to either give it some drying time or dry it with a hair dryer or whatever tool you have available to you, that's fine. These leaves right here, I'm just kind of doing some push and pull kind of leaf. And of course I got some pink in there again, because the pink is wet. I think this is a pretty design. And because I am doing it on top of another pattern or another base coat, it's going to be more durable. And I'm just going to go like this. And actually I think on this one I'm going to try to get a little bit more green. Some of that pink out, if I can. If it's not working, then it's not working. And I could go back into here, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Maybe pull another leaf into there. It's not going to be identical, like I said, to my other one. It's not. But it's very similar. And I just wanted to put in some smaller leaves around this big flower. So they're just very easy leaves. Nothing that's very difficult to do. So if you like my videos, please make sure that you are subscribing so that you will be notified anytime that I'm putting a new video out. Very important. Don't want you to miss anything. Please make sure that you do like my videos, if you like them actually, and that you share them. You know, if you have people that you think would like them, please make sure that you share them. I am trying to build my channel, and I appreciate any help I can get regarding that. And there we go, like that. Sorry, I might have been off the page a smidge there. So to make sure that I'm getting all these on here that I intended to get on here. I am definitely a leaf person, as I've mentioned many times before. I like leaves. And again, I'm just sticking with the basic leaf design that I've been doing on these. You could do, you know, a variable of patterns, but just for the purpose of the video, you know, I like the leaves that I'm doing, so I'm doing my little vines like that. And there's a couple more things I want to do here. I want to take the smaller, which is the number 4, flat brush, and then finish the center of the little flower over here. So what I'm going to do is just take it and tap, 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 tap into the center. Come back with some white, tap, 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 tap. And you can add brown into this. I think I did that on one of my samples. Really like the brown in it. That was pretty. Like a darker brown. This is yellow ochre that I'm putting in here with the white. And just kind of tap it until you get it the way you want it. Then the last thing that I'm going to do, and this takes a little bit of time, is go into the yellow ochre and just do some little dots. I'm using a stylus, and then I'm just putting little dots around the bottom. Clean this off, a smidge has some green on it. But I think that it gives it a nice look, a nice finished look. I like the stylus tools. I think they're easy. They're easier for me to do dotting with. I really need to look into getting some dotting tools for my gloss work. You can just see how it's just real petite, real light and petite. The edges that I put on these glasses is just, it's not straight. I just did kind of a slight little scallopy look, but it's all, there's no certain pattern to it. It's just randomly done. And that's pretty much how I roll when it comes to my art. And I'm sorry if I'm trying to make sure I'm on the video camera, but I'm finding myself, oops, that's dipped way too much. And just as I say, I like the tools, and I'm starting to get crazy with it. Don't want to put too much paint on, because then it will be blobby. I'd love to hear what you think about this glass. Down below, if you would tell me how you get your inspiration for artwork that you do. I'd love to hear where people find it. You know, besides coming up with it in your head, you know, do you look at pictures on the internet? Do you look at fabrics? Do you look at wallpaper designs? You know, where does it come from? Nature? Yeah, some of you are probably firsthand into being florists and whatnot, or maybe you're into painting something else. I just happen to love flowers, and that's what I gravitate towards. So, sorry if that's not what you're interested in, but that's my love, and I think I inherited that from my mother. And I'm going to take a look at this. I'm pretty certain that I put everything in that I wanted to put in. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. If you decide to try this, I'd love to see what you come up with. Everybody paints, even if it's a similar design, they paint something a little bit different with their own personality in it. And that's fine. That's awesome. So again, I appreciate you stopping by. Please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, share, like, comment. Love to hear from you. And thanks again for stopping by. Have a good evening.